Okay, thank you, Sir Jerry. So, basahin
Homer,
po natin.
maybe
Yes, Miss Grace.
pagsalitain muna natin yung mga nag-raise ng hand sila dito sa Zoom, no? So
Okay.
they can address their questions to any of our panelists. Maybe we can start with Mr. or Miss JJ Aklan or Aklan. Are you still there, sir, ma'am? Maybe Adrian, you can unmute JJ.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Ano po ang question natin?
Ayun, just like the questions na ni-raise dun sa chat box, so ano ba yung mas susundin? Yung clause for the cancellation or yung clause sa force majeure? Kasi for our contract, sa first part, may nakalagay na all payments made or given to the supplier are non-refundable. Pero ang clause lang nila sa later part for force majeure is may clause din sila na hindi sila liable for damages or loss due to force majeure. So, I'm not sure if papasok pa rin ba kami dun sa pag-avail ng refund or covered pa rin ba siya ng memorandum circular.
All right, thank you, JJ. Maybe one of our panelists can please respond to that. Director Mel or ASECAN, Sir Jerry.
If I got it right, there are two clauses in the contract. There is no cancellation clause. Tama ba?
For the may cancellation po. Nakalagay all payments made are non-refundable.
Okay. And then there is another clause that says that in case of force majeure, the supplier is not liable.
Yeah, for any loss or
Okay.
damages.
So I don't think there's any conflict there. But as a lawyer, I would say it's really one-sided in favor of the supplier.
Yeah.
So, but that is law between the contracting parties, because when you entered into that contract, you agreed to those terms. But there is no stopping that supplier from still giving you options. Kahit merong in the exercise of goodwill, kasi nga meron na siyang clause doon na all payments are forfeited. So we have been saying that is law between the contracting parties kung talagang it's explicitly stated in the contract. Tapos meron pa siyang isa pang provision na hindi siya liable pagdating ng fortuitous event. And you know, people have been looking at this pandemic, although if you would view the opinions of several jurists, it's really pointing towards this being a fortuitous event. So, and they are not liable. So, ang ano na lang talaga, ang matitira na lang talaga doon, sana yung supplier mo, dahil talaga namang this is an unprecedented kind of occurrence when you have a lockdown this long with so many restrictions in place, that they will also sit down with you and perhaps in the exercise of goodwill give you certain options, whether it's a discount, whether it's other terms more favorable than if just applying the exact terms and conditions of the contract. So Director Mel.
Thank you,
Director Mel, you have anything to add po?
Okay. Thank you, Joyce. Yun talaga yung masakit that we have to recognize or honor what's in the contract. And the contract serves as the law between the parties. So, pero kung titingnan mo in the interest of fairness, halimbawa, na-cancel yung event. Canceled yung event due to the restrictions imposed by the government, diba? Both parties are absolved from their respective obligation. Wala akong obligasyon na supplier na ipagamit yung venue kasi may restriction. Si kabilang party, wala na rin siyang obligasyon na kung meron pa mang balance siya doon sa kabuuan ng full payment niya, wala na rin siyang obligasyon, di ba? So kung tutuusin, bumalik sila doon sa original status nila, di ba? Balik sila, parang walang contract. Now, doon sa refund issue, hindi mo naman nagastos. That's why the MC is very fair, di ba? Kung hindi mo naman nagastos, is it fair for you na i-keep yung advance payment na na-receive mo, di ba? That's why we also cited the provisions of the Civil Code in the circular, di ba? So we have to observe fairness also, di ba? In implementing or applying the provisions of our contract. So, yun lang. So, that's why, yun lang, i-encourage lang natin yung parties na mag-usap na lang what's best for them, come out with a win-win solution.
Thank you very much, Attorney Mel. Now, sa program po kasi natin, ang sabi natin, we are only up to 12:10 in the afternoon. But with the permission of everybody, maybe we can extend up to 12:30 kung hanggang saan po yung abutin ng questions natin. Okay lang po ba? And from our panelists, is this okay with you? Let's push up to 12:30 in the afternoon po. Thank you very much po. Now, let's go to the next participant. We have Miss Andrea Gacho. Adrian, please unmute Miss Andrea. Kayo naman po ang mag-a-address ng question ninyo ngayon sa ating panelists.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hi ma'am. Please go ahead po.
Yeah, thank you. So I'd just like to clarify lang, my original wedding date was supposed to be June 13 of this year. However, it's still under ECQ. And apparently our supplier came up with the idea to just remove it further to September 17. Now I'm deciding to cancel. Now will it be covered under the Memorandum Circular 2030?
Ma'am, kung tama po yung pagkuha namin, no? So your original date is June 13 and then it's now moved to September. Tama po? And you're asking if this will still be covered by the MC 20-30. Tama po?
Yeah, correct.
All right. Then maybe any of our panelists can please respond to this. Maybe Director Mel.
So my question is, did you already agree on the offer to move the date of your wedding? Or hindi pa?
Pardon? Sorry, I can't hear you well.
Yes. My question was, did you already agree on the offer to move the date of your wedding from...
Yes, I did. Because we have nothing else to lose. It's June 13. That's still under ECQ.
June 13 to September.
Yes, correct.
So, Asek, can you help me with this?
Okay, so I assume you're not in Metro Manila because we are no longer in ECQ. We're GCQ in Metro Manila starting June 1. So as I think we have answered this in the previous questions when we said that the memorandum will apply first if you have made payment before the community quarantine was declared,
enforced,
which I think that was March 16, I think. And the second one being that the event is going to be held when there is still a community quarantine. So we had responded to this earlier, and we said that if in September there is still a community quarantine in that place, whether it's ECQ or GCQ, then we will still apply the memorandum.
But question is, I am now appealing for a refund, and we still don't know if by September we will be under CQ. So we should come up with a resolution. Now I'm just wondering, we will still be covered by it. Payments were made before ECQ booked as well.
Well, it will be difficult to give a categorical answer of whether you are entitled to a refund, because September 20, we are not
Mm-hmm.
sure whether you still have the CQ. That's why I was saying that for the MC on refunds to apply, you have those conditions. Payment was made before the CQ, and the event is during the CQ. In your case, you're
Mm-hmm.
asking for a refund for an event where for an event that was going to take place at a date which at this time we do not know yet whether it's under
Yes.
community quarantine. So
Mm-hmm.
I do not think
Mm-hmm.
we can apply the circular on refunds to that case.
This. Ah, all right.
Mm,
Very broad pala the circular.
The, uh, Asek, if I may,
mm.
it would have
Mm-hmm.
been different if she didn't agree
Yeah, yeah. I
that
understand.
the schedule be moved to September, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if
Yeah.
you stick with the June schedule, then you are entitled to opt for a refund.
But can this be used as a citation as well for the appeal? Because event was originally scheduled June 13.
Yes, but
All
you're given
right.
the
Thank you.
option to either choose refund, or you consume, or you reset the
I
event to another
actually,
date. You
yes,
already
I actually opted
yeah, you already opted for the
for
second
a
one.
refund. Yes, no, for a refund. But the problem is they didn't want to entertain it. What they're only offering is to move it into a much later date.
I know.
Which you
No,
agreed to? Which
Yeah.
you agreed to? I mean, the later date?
Yes. Yes. That was the
Oh, okay.
option I had back then. And now that the circular is released, I'm just wondering if we can still push through with the refund, considering that this was already laid out for.
Okay, I think that this is a little more complicated than the other questions in because we have these the facts that we get just now that first you were not given when you wanted to have it refunded, you were not
Yes.
given that option because at that time the MC was not also in place yet. And so
Yes, correct.
yes, so you were only given the you were prompted to
To agree
agree
to
to
move it to a
a
much later date.
okay.
Yes.
Well, well, the circular is prospective as in application.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
so we cannot also say that it will that it could be something that could be cited in this
mm-hmm.
case because you made the decision was made before the circular. But I
Uh-huh.
still think that when you go when you talk to your supplier
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
you express that you really did not have that choice before and
Yes, yes.
now you already have a circular in place, the intention of
Mm-hmm.
which is to alleviate all the economic the economic impact that the pandemic has,
Implications, yes.
yes, on all of
Mm-hmm,
us. I think that it is something that probably can still be discussed and the
mm-hmm.
supplier can probably make certain adjustments and
Adjustments as well.
yes,
Okay.
goodwill na lang po talaga yan on the part of
Goodwill,
the
so-called.
supplier.
Alrighty
Yes,
then. Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Miss Andrea.
Alrighty. Okay.
All right, let's go to the next participant, Yanni. Leah, maybe you can unmute Yanni.
Hi, good afternoon po.
Hi, Yanni.
Um,
Good afternoon.
hello. I have the same, parang the same situation with the last person. Pero ang question ko na lang po is the venue service agreement is as good as a contract. Kasi po, yun lang yung pinirmahan ko for the reservation fee. And nag-state po doon sa bandang bottom ng agreement, reservation fee is non-refundable. Pero I understand po na yung wedding namin is dapat po October 2020 and sa Tagaytay po. So I decided na i-postpone po yung wedding and then ask a refund kasi po we are planning to change a venue then. So ang concern ko po talaga is kung yung venue service agreement po ba is as good as a contract na para po i-honor namin siya na non-refundable po talaga yung reservation fee na binigay namin.
All right. Thank you very much, Yanni. Maybe Asik Ann can respond to that.
Okay, I have not seen the agreement, okay, but what I can really say at this time is that no matter what the heading is, it is the substance of that particular piece of document that will govern the rights and the obligations of the parties. So hindi ko nakikita po yung ano na yon, papel na yan. Pero whether it's called an agreement or a contract, makikita mo yun sa terms and conditions. Pero dun sa sinasabi mo na it has that no refund clause already tells me that it is really a contract between you and the supplier. Okay, so you have already paid. You have already paid, right? You would like to cancel. You would like a full refund. You would like a full refund. O kasi kanina, yun na din naman yung inaano natin dun sa mga dates na yan. Actually, this session is an eye-opener for me because we were only looking at those that were going to take place during the community quarantine, and then we have all these cases where you have events where people have been considering that this will not be lifted soon and will probably push their events to even 2021. I've seen it in the chat box. So I will respond to it the same way as I did the others, when I said that we cannot be sure yet whether the community quarantine would have been lifted at that time, in which case, if it was not lifted, then you would be covered by the circular that entitles you to a refund.
Thank you very much.
Okay po. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asik Ann and Yanni.
Thank you.
So our next participant naman po na magtatanong is Mr. Keith. Mr. Keith Geronimo.
No, hello po.
Oh, hi,
My name
ma'am.
is
Apologies.
Keith. I'm a girl. Yeah. Ma'am, I live in the US and I have a very difficult situation where my wedding was supposed to be March 20 in Bohol. I'm originally from Metro Manila. So, ang question ko lang po is, I already sent a letter to FDEB and fortunately, FDEB has been very responsive with the questions I've been asking and the support that I've been asking. However, the supplier, which is the wedding organizer and also my florist, have not been responsive at all to any of the DTI emails. So I've been very desperate because, ma'am, as much as I want to reschedule the date that I currently have, yung green card ko po has expired. So I'm not really 100% sure on when I can reschedule my wedding date. Hence, I would just like to cancel it, but there has no response from the wedding organizer and also the florist. And also there are suppliers that was booked under the wedding wedding organizer, and yung wedding organizer po has called them, even the church, tinawagan po ng wedding organizer to say that to not refund me and instead give all the money to her. So ayun po yung question ko, because I'm very much willing to give a percentage of the money to the wedding organizer, because yun nga po, as an act of goodwill, I recognize that there have been work that was given by the organizer. However, malaking pera po kasi yon. So, wala rin po akong choice but to cancel the wedding also. So, paano po kaya yung next steps namin, I guess, is the question, because it has reached FDEB and there hasn't been any response from the wedding organizer and florist.
All right. Thank you very much, Keith, for that question. Maybe Miss Werlin from the FTEB can respond to this. Ano po yung next step that Miss Keith can take? After sending email sa kanyang supplier, wala pa rin pong sagot.
Good morning. Hi, ma'am. May I possibly know what...
Hello po.
Kailan po kayo na nagkaroon yung last notice na na-receive nyo from FTEB? And can I have your name so that I can
Apo.
check from our database?
Yes, ma'am. Last week po. So, it was given last week and she was given 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken, to respond, because po nagbigay po ako ng message that I'm willing to give a percentage of the payment. However, she has not responded at all po. FDEB sent the message both to the organizer and to the florist. Kasi po, same supplier po sila.
Okay, ma'am. You receive another notice from our mediation officer. The next po na marireceive natin, kung hindi po nag-acknowledge yung respondent, is a notice of mediation. So, can I have your name lang po so that ma-remind natin sa mediation officer natin to check the...
All right, ma'am. It's Keith.
I'm sorry?
Okay po. It's
Email
Keith.
address.
Sorry po. It's Keith. Sige po.
Maybe...
the email address po is...
Yeah, sorry. Maybe what we can do is you can chat privately or directly to Miss Werlin your email address so she can directly act on it. So Miss Keith, maybe that's the best thing that we can do for now para po directly siyang ma-check ng ating Division Chief of the Mediation
Or,
Division.
ma'am, you can just send an email at ftmediation@dti.gov.ph or consumercare@dti.gov.ph para ma-follow up lang po. Just to remind us lang, ma-follow up so that may issue immediately po yung notice of mediation. That will be the next step po.
Sige po.
Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Miss Keith and Miss Werlin.
Thank you, Joy.
Now, we only have 5 minutes left, so maybe we'll have 1 or 2 more questions. The next one is from Mr. Felix Kaiser Albuera. Leah, can you please unmute Sir Felix? Thank you. Hi, Sir Felix. Your question, please.
Yes po, hello po. Yes po, regarding po kanina, dun sa sinabi ni Ms. Yani, actually, medyo parehas po kami. Kasi yung service agreement po na pinirmahan namin is naglalaman lang ng details ng name namin, details ng event, yung kung ilang pack, date, tsaka time. Pero meron dun sa ilalim niya na ganito. May footnote siya na ang nakalagay, reservation fee is required to block off the date and venue. It is non-refundable. So kanina nung nakikinig po ako, sabi, contract is parang i-implement yung contract. Though wala siyang nakalagay na malinaw na cancellation is dapat force majeure po. Yun po yung naiintindihan ko kanina. Pag may nakalagay na gano'n, kumbaga wala na talaga, parang hindi na siya ma-refund. So sa case po namin, yung service agreement po is footnote lang siya, na gano'n lang po ka-ikli. Then kinausap po namin yung event, nag-email po sa akin, actually nagbigay siya ng 2 option lang. Reschedule for next year from January to August 2021 or open date for 2021, availability of the venue on the day na napili namin. So yun lang po yung dalawang option na binigay niya. And paulit-ulit po niya sinasabi na yung 20,000 is reservation fee at hindi po siya considered as down payment. Yun po. And kailangan po namin mag-decide, sabi niya, dun sa option, 3 months before the original date. So which is, dapat October 2020 pa, hindi pa siya sakop ng community quarantine, pero kailangan na namin mag-decide ngayon July. Though wala po akong balak sana mag-decide ngayon kasi what if masakop nga ng October yung MGCQ or GCQ. So wala sana kaming balak mag-decide na nalilipat kami next year. So ano pong pwede namin maging options doon?
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Felix. Now maybe we can ask Attorney Mel to please respond to that.
Based on his stating, hindi rin kasi clear kasi I have to see the contract, kung contract nga ba siya, ano ba yung...
Ano po lang siya? Bale, service agreement lang po. Ang nilalaman lang niya, client information, event information, package, then payment na po. Yun lang po. Ganito lang po yung itsura niya. May footnote lang po talaga siya. Ito lang po, maliit lang po.
Bakit po unsigned naman siya?
Ito po yung copy namin.
Ha?
Ang sign po namin is nandito po sa taas.
Oh, yung representative po nung supplier may pirma?
Sa copy po nila.
Ha?
Bale, dalawang copy po. Ito po yung copy namin.
Agreement na hiwalay yung...
Opo.
Yung ganon, acceptable naman siya minsan kung yung, di ba, minsan pagka kontrata, tapos pagka merong yung notarized siya, yung acknowledgement minsan, pwede namang separate. Halimbawa, ikaw, pina-acknowledge mo before a notary, in-acknowledge mo siya before a notary public siya rin. Pero dapat pirmado siya, yung same contract, same document, dapat nandun parehas yung signature nyo. Hindi pwedeng may sarili siyang contract, may sarili ka rin siyang contract. Diba?
Opo.
Para sabihin natin na nag-agree kayo on certain terms, kahit pa anong form yan, anong format yan, basta nakapirma po kayong dalawa.
Opo.
So, yun yung mga, parang just to guide you lang na pirmado ba yung kontrata, pirmado nyo bang dalawa, para magamit niya na ipagpilitan na hindi, merong provision dito na yung ganyan. So, dapat may, kumbaga, yung contract kasi tinatawag na consensual, may meeting of the minds, nagpirma kayong dalawa doon sa kontrata. Dito may nakikita ako na parang bakit hindi nakikita yung signature nyo doon sa parehas na document.
Opo.
Yun lang. So, yun yung mga pwede mong siguro erase sa kanya. Pwede nyo namang pag-usapan pa rin. Tapos yung nga nabanggit mo pa na sa October pa, yung date ng wedding mo, di ba? Yung under the MC kasi yung date dapat within the yung community quarantine, and we are not sure kung in October, meron pang community quarantine.
No, po. Pero yung regarding po dun sa binigay niyang options na kailangan makapag-decide 3 months before October na kung lilipat kami next year, yun lang po yung binigay niya po kasing option.
Oo, ang concern ko lang kasi we cannot strictly apply the provisions of the circular kasi yung date ng wedding ninyo, hindi tayo sigurado kung sakop pang anong community quarantine.
Pero if ever po, okay lang po ba na hindi ako pumili dun sa options na binigay niya, then wait na lang until October kung under quarantine pa ba talaga siya or hindi. Then saka ko ipipilit yung MC circular ng DTI.
Option nyo po yun. Option nyo po yun. So, lahat po, meron kayong remedy. Parehas na party, may kanya-kanya kayong pwedeng remedies under applicable laws, kung circular man, o the new civil code man ang mag-a-apply. So,
Okay po. Sige po. Thank you po.
salamat.
Thank you so much, Felix, and thank you so much, Attorney Mel. Now, punta naman po tayo sa magtatanong from the supplier side. We have here Mr. Nawala po siya. Oh, here. We have here Miss Michelle De Vera. Hi, Miss Michelle.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, please
Hello.
go ahead po. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. We can
Good
hear you
afternoon.
clearly.
Yes, pa. As a supplier po, I'm representative and owner, venue representative here at the Monochrome Events Place. So we are acknowledging the contract stipulation in terms of refund, but we are doing act of goodwill to those who our clients are affected. However, we are in a process of doing a refund with them. Is there any tax implication once we release the fund with them because we have issued an official receipt with our clients? That's number one. And then number two, we have a client that decided to rebook for the event date, but there's no definite date for next year. Are we allowed to renew our payment terms and impose a new payment schedule in the addendum to contract?
Director Mel, perhaps you can respond po.
Nag-iisa na lang ba ako rito?
Or any from the panel, Asik Ann, Sir
Okay.
Jerry.
Hindi, baka nag-break lang sila. So, isa-isahin natin, no? Ano yung first question niya?
On taxes.
On
The first one is taxes because they have already issued a receipt. So meron na doon na, syempre may tax na yan, ano? Whether
I'm passing the question to you, Asik. Taxes.
I will be very candid about this. I'll be very candid about this. We have not considered the tax aspect. I mean, personally, I have not. And I am glad that when I saw those comments in the chat box for a supplier to speak, that we have indeed a supplier speaking. We were not looking at the task aspect of the transaction for which payments were made. Let us be able to get back to you on this. Siguro kailangan natin iano yan sa BIR because I cannot answer for them. And it is a very valid concern. Kasi natanggap na yung pera, tapos ibabalik. So who bears the burden? Okay. Number two, whether you can of course renegotiate the terms if the event is going to be rescheduled at another time. We are operating on the assumption that you have a contract with this consumer, and you would like to reschedule the event. On whether you can negotiate, of course, between the parties kasi, pag nag-a-agree kayo niyan ng different terms and conditions acceptable to both of you, kayo po ang masusunod kasi may kontrata po kayo. So, if your client will accept the terms and conditions, even the higher rates, then that is law between the contracting parties. Meron talaga kayong ano. Ang tinitingnan lang po natin sa circular ay the matter of refunds.
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you so much po.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Michelle and Asik Ann. Now, another question from another supplier, Mr. Charlie Maranan Jr. Leah, please unmute Sir Charlie.
Yes, hello po. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Sir Charlie. Please go ahead.
Ask ko lang, kasi since one of our clients' event date falls under ECQ period, is she entitled for the full refund given that meron kaming contract, both parties, na nagsistate doon sa force majeure clause that we can only refund 50% of the total payment of the client, pero si client, nag-i-insist siya ng full refund. Ano kaya yung pwede namin gawin doon? Or ano yung pwedeng resolution na pwede namin ibigay kay client?
Thank you for that question, Charlie. Maybe we can ask either Asik Ann or Director Mel to please respond to that.
In that case, kasi you have a contract and the terms are clear. So on the part of the parties, kayo talaga ang mag-uusap, and you are the supplier, right?
Yes.
You're representing the company.
Yes.
We have been saying early on that even when there is a contract and there is a provision that says no refund, whether a full or partial refund, that will be that that will hold, kasi those are contractual provisions. But I would like to also say that there is no stopping your company from also in the act of goodwill
Mm.
from returning all of the money or
Yes.
part of it. Nasa sa inyo po, goodwill po yan.
Yes, ask ko lang din kasi meron din sa contract namin, since down payment lang yung binayad ni client, so meron din kaming condition na non-refundable din yung down payment. Non-refundable din yung yung down payment.
Paano?
Ito mic ko.
Oh, I mean, the same answer. If you have a contract that says non-refundable lang down payment, yun yung masusunod between the parties. Now, if your client approaches you and appeals to you, kung pwede naman, kasi wala nang may magkakagustuhan dito sa ating sitwasyon ngayon, na ibabalik nyo full or part of the money that was paid in down payment, nasa sa inyo po yan kung ibabalik nyo. Although we recognize that there is an agreement.
Okay, thank you po, DTI ASEC.
Hello po, pwede po magtanong.
Thank you so much, Charlie and Asik Ann. Now po, just one last question since we are already 9 minutes past 12:30. Meron po itong sinend over through the chat box. It's from Miss Charlotte Marie Galinea. She's a supplier po, ang sabi niya. As a supplier or events provider, ano pong cover ng relevant expenses? Does it cover admin and service fee? Maybe Director Mel or Sir Jerry or even Asik Ann can respond to this. Covered po ba ang admin and service fee dun sa relevant expenses na binabanggit po sa ating MC?
Sinasabi natin admin, di ba pag admin fee, very generic siya na parang pangkalahatan siya eh. It's not parang specific to that particular event. So kung sabihin mong covered siya, baka hindi na rin siya fair. Kasi ang intent ng memorandum circular natin, yung mga expenses lang talaga na merong parang yung relevant, it is directly connected with the event proper, di ba? Hindi yung, syempre pag admin masyadong malawak na siya eh. For the admin, and what's the other one?
Service fee po.
Service fee for what?
Hindi
malawak din yung service fee. Ano ba siyang klaseng service?
For handling the event. I would just like to take off from what Director Mel has said. My view is, pareho lang kami ni Director Mel, on the admin charges, regardless of whether the event was going to take place, those charges would still have been incurred. Diba? So, palagay ko hindi pa pwedeng i-cover natin dito sa refund circular ng DTI. Kasi nga, kahit wala yung event na yan, or nandyan yung event na yan and other events, nandun pa rin yung, those are your costs. Diba? Dun sa running your business. Dun sa service fee, kaya nga yung circular nakalagay doon, any reasonable charge. Alam naman po namin, hindi kasi namin pwedeng i-enumerate doon ano ang reasonable. Nakikita ko sa chat box, nagtatanong, ano ba yung mga charges na pwede mong sabing reasonable? Ang talagang on the part of DTI, yung sinasabi naming reasonable, directly related dun sa kontratang yon. Kunyari, merong isang kasal, meron siyang specification, gusto niya na winter wonderland ang kanyang theme. So may mga binibili yung supplier kasi March yung kasal, to end of March. May binibili na yung supplier unique to that kasi sinabi ng supplier, nako ma'am, wala po kaming ganyan. Ay hindi, kung isama nyo na dun sa quotation sa amin, basta gusto ko ng ganon. So syempre when the supplier would quote, it would cover all those things including the theme. Ngayon, para sa akin, if there are certain specifications na although may nabasa akong tungkol sa Tiffany chairs na hindi lang naman siya ang gagamit. Ang ano ko lang naman doon is kung doon sa event mo, specify mo talaga at binili yan ng supplier para lang matupad yung ano yung gusto mo na theme sa event mo. For me, that becomes a reasonable expense. If in the future the supplier can still make use of that, hindi na natin yan titingnan at this time. Yung ang titingnan natin as a reasonable expense, all those directly related to your event, yun yung reasonable expense.
Thank you very much, Asek Ann. That's very clear. Thank you very much, Attorney Mel, also for providing your inputs earlier. Now, this ends the Q&A portion of our webinar. Nakita po namin napakarami pong mga nag-chat sa amin ng mga tanong. Rest assured po na lahat po yan sasagutin namin. We have recorded everything. We have copied all the text in the chat box. Lahat po yan sasagutin namin. We'll post in our social media pages, the FAQs. We'll also contact you via email since you have registered naman po for this webinar. So, pasensya na po, we cannot answer all of your questions during this webinar, but please watch out for future sessions that we will be conducting. But for the meantime, may I ask once again, Asik and Claire Cabochan to please deliver the closing remarks for this afternoon.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for joining us. I can see that from the 500, we have 367, and I don't like to stand in the way of the launch of the 366 now. So, masasabi lang po namin, kami sa DTI, what we would really want to do is to help out those who have been affected by this pandemic with respect to events that you have scheduled that were affected. At kaya yung circular ay nandyan. Alam namin marami pa po kayong tanong. Meron din po kami, I would admit, na hindi namin na anticipate, and that is why it has always been a policy sa amin, internally, CPG, and even within DTI, that we revisit all our issuances to also consider those very valid concerns. So titingnan po namin lahat at sana po yung mga suppliers na kakausapin nyo, ngayon armado na po kayo ng may circular kayo at kung covered kayo, eligible kayo dun sa refunds, ay hindi naman hahantong na kailangan pa kayong mag-usap sa FTEB or magkakasuhan. So, kaya sinasabi namin goodwill, I hope that will prevail. And from all of us at DTI, we will only be able to heal as one if we work together. So maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Asik Ann. Ngayon po, we are inviting all of you for our webinar session tomorrow. So kung sino man po sa inyo yung nag-ooperate ng restaurants o dine-in restaurants, bukas po ang topic natin ay minimum health protocols on dine-in restaurants. Around the same time, 10:30 a.m. up to 12 noon. ito po ay nakapost na sa aming social media pages. Please do follow us in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for DTI Consumer Care. Diyan po namin pinopost lahat ng aming announcements. So tomorrow po, we hope to see you again. Maraming salamat po for joining our webinar session this afternoon. Thank you very much, Asik Ann Kabotchan, for gracing us ngayon po sa ating webinar. Thank you so much, Director Mel, Miss Werlin Reyes from the FTEB, and of course from our speaker, DC Gerald Calderon. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat for participating in our webinar this afternoon. To the other moderator, to my partner, Homer Buni, are you still there? Thank you very much for facilitating the
Yes,
Q&A
guys.
earlier.
Thank you rin po sa lahat.
Thank you, Homer, and thank you, Joyce. Of course,
Thank you so much,
congratulations,
ma'am.
Director Mel and
Thank
Jerry.
you, Isaac. Thank you, Team CPAB.
Thank you po. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.